Them is a rough sleeper is someone that is unfortunately having to spend their evenings and spend the nights out on the streets in the cold, while someone who's homeless may not necessarily be a rough sleeper, i.e. sleeping on the streets, but they'll be in a hostel, maybe in temporary accommodation, moving from place to place. With SNS we tend to deal quite specifically with the rough sleepers.
Sure.
But with that we also get people from the homeless community as well, coming from the shelters, from squats, and we need to be able to support them both in the work that we do.
Stats and figures here, Dom. I mean, we've got here that homelessness has actually risen by 54% in England since 2010. So 54%. That rate is quite alarming. Does that reflect upon the ground grassroots work which you're doing in the project?
Yeah, very much so. I think we're coming up to our third winter now, and this is obviously the most harshest time for our service users. I don't know, about 50 or 60, and now week on week we over the course of the 2 days that we run our provision, we'll serve easily over 175 service users across the 2 days.
When you look at how the council actually have come with this number, it says here that a person is classified as rough sleeping only if during November count. I'm envisaging someone with a clipboard walking around the city centre and doing maybe a head count once in a year and coming up with that figure. And the reason why I feel that figure is a little bit reserved is because we know that there were over 5,000 individuals who approached the council to declare themselves homeless over the past 12 months.
The other thing that might impact on that statistic is that around the winter times the council actually have a statutory obligation to provide accommodation when a temperature drops below a certain limit.
Okay.
So there may actually be more provisions in place for actually putting people into accommodation. So looking at it during the winter months, I think isn't the best indication of how many people are rough sleeping at one point.
Even the criteria to actually get some kind of assistance is really, really, really high. So what we basically, even if you're in need, it's not automatically means that you're going to get some form of assistance there, which is quite alarming. But considering that we live in a developed country, a lot of other countries around other continents look up to countries in Europe, especially we're within the UK, and to have this at our own doorstep, it is quite alarming. And I feel that as if people don't really know the true extent of this.
But there was one time, and it is genuinely heartbreaking, that I saw one family come to our service, and it was on one weekend, and they came, and we were providing like the food, the tea, the coffee, like some cakes, and we were providing it to the whole family. And it's just to see people in that situation, it really sort of hits home, and like, is there more that we can be doing? But the other part of our service, and the name that we've given our service, is Soup and Smiles, because one of the most important aspects of the service is providing the smiles, which comes from engagement through interacting with the service users. And we place a lot of importance on that aspect, because opportunities to come and talk to people, just to maybe just talk about the day, talk about the week, talk about what problems they've been facing. It's just like we're all sociable creatures. We all need that aspect of interaction with people, and that's one of the most important aspects, and one of the aspects I enjoy the most.
Like I mentioned, a lot of the service users that we interact with, a lot of them are depressed, or they just need someone to speak to. And there's one story actually. I remember there was a brother who comes quite often. In fact, not quite often. He's a soldier. Actually, he comes every single week. And I remember seeing him once with a person who came for the food, and they were just sat in the corner, and the man, it was a grown man who came for food, and he was just crying, and he was literally just on this brother's shoulder. And I didn't know what that conversation was, and if I'm honest, I didn't even ask, because it was a private conversation between two people. But it was such a warm, it was just one of those moments where I thought, wow, this person just needed someone to speak to, and the first person he had a conversation with that day, he just opened up, and he just fell down. It really touched me. It really touched me. And if you multiply that by the numbers that we're seeing now of people who are homeless within, just in our area of Manchester, there's a massive need out there. There is a massive need. So the fact that your project is looking at not just providing soup and bread, but it's also they're providing the smiles and that social element is fantastic.
And these sorts of issues, whilst yes they may not be seen in a positive light by the community, but these people still need help. We still have a duty to these people to help them. No one deserves to be on the streets, no one deserves to be homeless, and no one deserves to be denied support. So I think it's really important to look at everyone as their situation presents themselves, not from the background that they come from. What do you think of people's perceptions about homelessness? And his reply was, don't judge a book by its cover. Come speak to the person and let that person, if they're good enough to show you where they're bedding down. And I think that's like really embodies the work that we try to do in sort of engaging with people, and it is that sort of speaking to them and just trying to find out what are their causes, why have they got to this situation, and is there anywhere we can help.
When you look at the roots of why they even started in the first place, and I remember a few discussions that I've had with a few people, a lot of it is down to domestic abuse that people have had, is down to sexual abuse that they've had from family members, from friends, from people within the community, and to kind of block all that out, this is the only alternative they have, and one thing spirals out of another. And also another issue which is growing is obviously the prices of rent is dramatically increased within the Manchester area.
But I was quite ignorant to that fact. You walk past these homeless people, they're either drinking or they're using some form of drug. It's only until I actually got involved in Super and Smiles I realised, some of these are educated people, some of them had life tragedies, or they've the families disowned them for whatever reasons.
Another means to help tackle the harsh effects of winter. We're already starting to feel it now as the temperature drops. It's getting colder, and we ourselves are starting to wrap up warm. Can you just imagine that we get home, we're able to put the heating on, get under some covers. Can you imagine being out 24/7 in the cold? There's no respite from it.
Looking at another community, the Sikh community, they actually provide a langar, which is, I think, they give food every single day. So you see an influx of people from their own religion as well as homeless people. So I feel that as a community we should be implementing something the same as that same initiative. We have masjids, you go there for Fajr, and after Isha, that's it, the masjid's shut. I feel that maybe those masjid's doors should be more open and invite people in, maybe provide food for the homeless people. As the brother said before, there are masjids, there are empty buildings, we should be doing more, things like that. And within the Christian community, the winter shelter, the churches are actually opening up for 7 days a week and providing shelter to homeless people, and I don't see why we can't do that as a community.
I mentioned before that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that he is not a believer who eats his fill while his neighbour is hungry, as well as many other narrations where in our deen it's an obligation to help people within your community. If the Muslim community is not a poor community, and the Muslim, even the Muslims around the Middle East and different places, we're not poor. SubhanAllah, Allah has blessed us with a lot, and if we distribute it equally, I think we can provide to a lot.
Well, I think it has. Did you? I don't know whether you saw the report just after Ramadan, where it said 100 million was donated over that period just from the Muslim community alone.
Yes.
And this just proves what you're saying. We are a wealthy community, and we do also have that ability to spend this in the path of Allah.
Do you think that it's more to do with organisation?
Just like in the Myriad Foundation, where we are this hub for Muslims to come together, and we are as a community and be able to make much bigger of an impact together than we are on our own.
If you look at, for example, when the floods happened, and you look at the Muslim community who responded to that, would that have happened 15-20 years ago if that happened? I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that. But one thing for sure is that the Muslim community are becoming a little bit more active. But I know of organisations in Newcastle, organisations in Birmingham, organisations down south where they're doing the similar work to ourselves, and they're also heavily involved within the community. And you are listening to the Myriad Show every Monday from 7 till 9 p.m. I hope you are having a fantastic evening.